It was supposed to be peace. A whole summer tucked away in the old family hunting cabin, way out in the swamps where the air sat heavy, and the nights belonged to the crickets and frogs. I'd inherited the place from my grandfather, along with a few rifles, some busted trail cams, and a warning he scribbled in the back of his journal that I thought was just old man nonsense. If it smells like meat, but there ain't no meat, leave. I didn't take that seriously. We arrived in late June. Me, my wife Claire, our 2 teenagers, Jake and Maddie, my brother Ray, and our old man. Just us and 1,000,000 acres of wet, humming swamp. Granddad's place looked worse than I remembered. Roof sagging, front door crooked, windows caked with grime. You could smell the rot before we even stepped out of the truck. Locals at the gas station had warned us gently, but I figured it was just backwoods talk. "Don't go too deep out there," one guy said while bagging our ice. "Yeah," said another, not looking up. "Not a lot of gators this year, like they know something we don't." My father just laughed. "Come on, you guys know me. What do you think's out there, Shrek or something?" Jake laughed, and Maddie immediately asked if we could watch the movie that night. We passed a dead stretch of bog on the way in. No lily pads, no frogs, no birds, just black, still water, and a half-collapsed willow leaning into it like a drowned woman. That's when we saw it. A massive nest. It sat like a tangled throne built from tree limbs, mud, animal bones, and fur. Fur long as my arm, matted and clotted. It looked ancient and fresh at the same time. "Dad, you seen that shit?" Jake asked, pointing out the window. "I seen it," I muttered. "Must be some big fucking gators out here or something." Claire shot me a look. "Oh yeah, no cursing, boy," my father said sarcastically. "Let the boy be a man, for Christ's sake." We all laughed, even though I kept checking the mirror to see if that nest was still behind us. That night, we set up the trail cams Grandpa left. Ray rewired them to feed into an old laptop, and we got a surprisingly clean signal. The kids roasted marshmallows outside, while me, Ray, and our father watched the feeds in the back room. 8 cameras, 1 on the water, 2 along the trails, and the rest scattered through the tree line. It was around 1:15 a.m. when we saw it. Camera 3, down by the far edge of the property. Something moved, heavy, slow. We leaned in. At first it looked like a hairy man bent over. Then it stood, 8 feet tall at least, covered in wet, matted hair, arms like telephone poles. It had something in its hand, dragging it. A pig, or maybe a deer. It was hard to tell. The thing's back was to us, until it stopped and turned, dead in the lens. Ray whispered, "There's no way it knows where the cam is, right? I put that thing 20 feet up in a goddamn pine." But the creature stared, unmoving, as if it were staring through the screen, into us. Then suddenly, gone, just gone. No walking, no running. One frame, it was there. The next, nothing. Then all the power in the cabin cut out. The hum of the refrigerator, the computer, the porch light, everything dropped. Pitch black. Claire called out from the front, "What the hell's going on?" We all jumped up. The kids had come inside. I grabbed a flashlight, barely able to keep my hand steady. That's when we heard it, outside the cabin. Breathing, not panting. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Deep. Like it had 2 lungs the size of kegs, and it was savoring every breath. We froze. I counted everyone. 6. All accounted for. The breathing moved. Window to window. One side of the house, then the other. Pacing. And then, crash. Something flew through the back window and landed hard on the kitchen floor. We all screamed, lights flicking on just in time. It was a deer, but not whole. No head, no legs, just the torso, skinned on one side, ribs sticking out like ivory fingers. A stump of a spine jutted where the neck had been. I crawled to the window, heart pounding, trying to catch a glimpse. Nothing. No sound. No breathing. It was gone. We didn't sleep. We sat up with the rifles, lights on, and didn't move. The sun finally came up around 6. Nothing else happened. But we never forgot what it smelled like. Burnt hair, copper, rotting meat. The next morning, the trail cams were all ripped from the trees. We left that day, didn't even pack most of our stuff, and not a word was said during the drive back out. At the same dead stretch of bog, I looked out the window. The nest, it was gone. Just a circle of crushed earth, steam rising from it like breath from the swamp. I never told the kids what I really think we saw that night. Never told Claire. But when I went back to my grandfather's journal later that week, the warning he'd scribbled, he wrote it twice. If it smells like meat, but there ain't no meat, leave. Because it's already inside the tree line. I've done a lot of bad things in my life. Things I won't ask forgiveness for, because I wouldn't give it to myself even if I could. But what happened in the Honey Island swamp, that was something else. Something not meant for men like us. There were 3 of us. Me, Hector, and Lo. All ex-cons. All lifers who got out too early, who never learned a goddamn thing. When you've done time, you come out one of 2 ways. Scared of the dark, or in love with it. We were the latter. We had a tip about some illegal wildlife in the restricted parts of the Honey Island swamp. Exotic cats, massive snakes, and some kind of ivory-tusked deer brought in by old rich freaks in the 80s, and then forgotten. A guy we knew promised 10 grand each if we brought him something rare and skinned. Clean cuts, no bullet holes. So we loaded the truck, grabbed the machetes, rifles, gear, and headed in. Past the public trails, past the fences, way into the off-limits zone where the maps go quiet. We found an old ranger station tucked in under vines and brush, forgotten by time. Sign was rusted off, roof half gone. Inside it looked like a war zone. Furniture smashed to splinters, mold creeping across the walls like infection. But what chilled me was the hole in the floor. Not dug into the cabin, but ruptured outward, like something had exploded up through it. I didn't say anything at the time, just kept that observation for myself. We pushed deeper into the swamp, cutting through brush, navigating through moss-draped trees and knee-high water. That's when things started getting wrong, really wrong. We found mummified animals hanging from trees, cats, possums, birds, some still with tufts of fur, all skinned, dried out, and positioned in weird circles or rows, some with legs out like crosses, others hanging by their necks. Looks like someone already beat us to it, huh? Hector said. Lo laughed and spit into the water. Whoever this fucker is, he's in for a rude awakening if he thinks we'll back off. I didn't laugh. Then we noticed the claw marks, 12 feet up, dragged through the wood of cypress trunks like they were butter. Not a bear, not a gator, something with hands, and the burrows. Jesus, big as a car, dug deep into dry ground like tunnels, like something burrowed up, or maybe down. Our radios died soon after. Static, then silence. What the fuck? Lo smacked his handset against his thigh. No signal? Don't worry about it, I said, hiding the shake in my voice. We'll be fine, long as we stay together. We set up camp on a dry patch near the edge of a slough. Mosquitoes came down like rain. The air was thick, hot, rank. That's when we heard it. A howl, long, hollow, not like a wolf, not like anything I've ever heard. It rose into the air like steam and just hung there. Hector stood up, rifle in hand. What the hell is that? Lowe grinned. I know who it is. He turned toward the dark trees. Hey, asshole, if that's you messing with us, we're not impressed. No reply. 5 minutes passed. Then it came again. Closer. Too close. A figure stepped out from between the trees. Huge. Towering. At least 9 feet tall. Shoulders like a bull. Covered in dark, tangled hair, slick with swamp water. I could hear it dripping. You guys seeing this? I whispered. Yeah, Hector muttered. But what the hell is it? A man? Fuck no, Lowe said, backing up. You see the size of this thing? Shut up, don't move. It stood there, breathing, watching us. Then it moved, slowly, circling the camp. We turned with it, keeping our backs to the fire. My heart was in my throat. It never came closer than 10 feet, just walked and breathed, sniffing the air like a dog. And then, just like that, it was gone, back into the woods. We didn't sleep, not one of us. We sat there in silence, waiting for it to come back. It didn't, not that night. But the next morning I saw muddy prints, 3-toed, the size of my goddamn chest. Lowe broke, said we needed to go back. We left our gear, took only the rifles and a flashlight. We didn't even make it a mile before we saw the trees again, those hanging things. This time, human bones, a jaw, a hand, a full rib cage, split open like a fruit